Welcome to Backdoors and Breaches. Let's meet today's contestants. Networking wizard, Ronnie Wong. Security specialist, Daniel Lowry. Help desk pro, Wes Bryan. Lead systems admin, Mike Roderick. And your incident master, Don Pezet. Now let's play Backdoors and Breaches.
Welcome everybody to ITProTV Plays Backdoors and Breaches. I have to set up that way so we can play, I don't know, Fallout next year. So we are going to be playing Backdoors and Breaches. I have said it right all week long until now. And it is going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't heard about it, don't worry. We're going to fill you in on all the details. Basically, what this is an incident response game that was developed by the folks over at Black Hills Information Security. It is designed as a tabletop exercise to help people learn about how companies handle incident response in the world of cybersecurity. So what I've done is I have gathered together 4 of the edutainers from ITProTV, and each one of them is going to be performing a different role for this company, and we'll go through the exercise of what happens we do incident response. And it's all built around a Dungeons & Dragons style game called Backdoors and Breaches. So our first contestant, if you will, is going to be Mr. Daniel Lowry. He is our resident security specialist at ITProTV. So he is going to be playing the role of the security officer, or what title would you like to have?
I was going to say like oaf. No. Yeah, you know, this security officer. I think that's a good way to go.
All right, so he's going the security officer route. Our next contestant, Mr. Mike Roderick, down there over at the other end. He is going to be our systems administrator. And then we've got, let's see who else on our plate here. I'm trying to go in this order. I should just look at you guys.
You know who we are.
I just met these guys.
Day one on the job.
So we got Ronnie Wong, who is our network specialist at ITProTV. He's going to be, oddly enough,
printer guy.
the printer guy. So the network engineer for our fictional company. And lastly, Mr. Wes Bryan, who I've been working with a lot lately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who is taking the most painful role.
That's right.
The
That's right.
desktop support and help desk.
I forgot my red shirt, so I'll be the first one to go.
That's the first one of the away team.
I've got one.
Oh, you've got one, that's right.
All right, well, before we dive into our actual game, I do want to give an extra big shout out to the folks at Black Hills Information Security who developed this game and released it out to the wild for everybody to play and learn. It's a phenomenal way to learn about incident response, way better than a lecture. If you don't already know who Black Hills Information Security is, let me tell you a little bit about them. They specialize in pen testing, red teaming, threat hunting, and they always give back to the security community, the InfoSec community as a whole. They do where they share their knowledge. They do free webinars. They do conference appearances. They actually put on their own conference with Wild West Hackin' Fest, which is a blast. Daniel, you've been to every one.
Love it.
And so you know, definitely a lot there. They do webcasts, blogs, and they created Backdoors and Breaches and graciously allowed ITProTV to play it on air. So, so we are certainly excited about that. Definitely check them out if you want to learn more. And, you know, if you want to play Backdoors and Breaches, they actually sell it on Amazon. You can go on to Amazon.com. I think it's $10 right now. They do sell out fast, so go and buy it. If they sell out or whatever, though, we are going to be giving away a copy today. So if you're watching us live, all you have to do is post a message in our chat room. And if you do, at the end of the game, we'll randomly select from one of the players in the chat room, and they will get a copy of Backdoors and Breaches. We also are going to give away a t-shirt. I think we've got our shirt model over here. This is the classic ITProTV and Chill. We actually have several shirts to pick from. So if you are selected, we'll send you a voucher code where you can go and pick your shirt size and style and all that good stuff. So, so all that is coming up. All right, now, I love this game because it's a great, fun, engaging way to learn about incident response. But, you know, ITProTV is a great, fun, engaging way to learn about all sorts of IT topics, not just in the world of security, but all across the board, like networking and desktop support, Windows Server administration. I do Linux and Apple training. We have a ton of stuff in our library. In fact, we have over 4,000 hours of content in the ITProTV library.
Beg your pardon?
Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. Tons and tons of stuff. We have a number of certification-based series like CEH. We've got CEH version 10, CompTIA's Pen Test Plus, CISSP, and tons of other ones. I know, Daniel, we're about to update CISA Plus again.
Starting to work on it right now.
So, but, I mean, we've got the current CISA Plus, so we're good there. Just a lot of stuff. If you're interested in learning more, be sure, if you check out that you use promo code GAMESHOW30 because you can save 30% off of your subscription, not just today, but for the lifetime of your account. If you sign up for a monthly or annual, year after year, you will save 30%, and not just for individuals, but for teams as well. If you want ITProTV training for your whole team, 30% off with promo code GAMESHOW30. All right, well, this is our first live episode of Backdoors and Breaches. I'm hoping we get to do this more often. I'd love to be able to bring some of our viewers into play as well. But for everybody who's new to it, let me give you a basic rundown of how this is going to work. I've got the game table pulled up here on my laptop. Normally we would play with cards on the table. We're going to play this digitally so that everybody can kind of see what's going on. We're going to pretend that we are a company, and that company is going to have certain policies and procedures in place. And so we are dealt 4 procedure cards, and those are tools that our company has in place to help with an incident. No company has everything, but at least you've got something. Then there are going to be 4 stages of this attack, right? The security incident. There's going to be an initial compromise, a method of command and control or exfiltration. Then there's going to be persistence, how the attackers are staying in your network. And lastly, pivot and escalate. Are they using that initial point of compromise to then reach out and explore the rest of your network in a fun and friendly way, as attackers tend to do? Throughout the game, our players are going to be using their own institutional knowledge and these 4 procedures to try and determine the 4 elements that I just described. They will have 10 rounds to do that. So every player will get to go at least twice. 2 people will get to go 3 times. And if they can unravel all 4 aspects of the incident, it's considered that they have won. If not, they have failed, and they get an RGE or resume generating event. So
You'll be really using Ronnie's skills, right? Make sure that printer's going on the end of the day.
Definitely.
you know that the printer is the only true mission critical device.
That's
on your
right.
network. All right, so that's the basic rundown. There is a little bit more to it. We'll see. It is a bit of a game of chance. We have a D20 that is going to be rolled that on an 11 or higher, they will be successful in their approach. On a 10 or lower, they will not be successful. If they're using a procedure, they'll get a +3 bonus. It's a lot of rules, but it's actually kind of easy, and we'll explain it as we go. All right, so I think that's the basic rundown. Let me give you our scenario before we jump into our game, and we'll do a little break before that too. But our fictional company today is a little industrial startup located in the beautiful city of Detroit, Michigan, which is Omni Consumer Products. And at Omni Consumer Products, also known as OCP, there are a number of research projects that are going on, mostly in the world of like domestic security, police force, crime prevention, and so on. A number of their technologies are secret, trade secret, right? Patented technology, and so they're really guarded about letting that information out. It's not like health records, right? Well, you know, maybe in some cases, but all volunteers, right? But from an intellectual property standpoint, they've got a lot of cutting edge technology, especially some of their human cybernetic intermingling technologies. Oh yeah, really important stuff. So they don't want that out. Obviously concerned about security enough that they have an incident response team made up of you 4. So we're going to deal with a bit of an incident, and we'll see what you guys can do with it. But before we start, let's take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors. When we get back, the beginning of Backdoors and Breaches.
This is Josh. Josh spent $2,500 on a week of classroom training for CompTIA A+ and got certified. Josh got a good job that pays $40,000 per year. This is Jeremy. Jeremy only spent $299 on a full year of training from ITProTV, including A+ and 300 other courses. Jeremy also got a great job that pays $40,000 per year. Jeremy used the more than $2,200 he saved on IT training for a fabulous tropical vacation. Now Jeremy is still using his ITProTV membership to study for Network Plus and Security Plus to advance his career, but not spending any more money, since all 3 are included in his ITProTV membership, plus 300 more courses. Don't be like Josh. Choose ITProTV for your IT training.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So we are ready to kick off Backdoors and Breaches. I'm excited. You guys excited?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we're going to kick this off with our scenario, right? Wes, we're going to be beginning with you because you are the front line of our IT department, right?
Okay.
As the person who's doing desktop support and customer support, you're going to get this call. And so you get a call from now this is from the Security Concepts Division, very important, right? These are the people who do our research. Bob Morton gives you a call.
All right.
And he is hot to trot.
All right.
So Bob calls up and he's like, hey, what's going on here? I just checked. We've got our new project ED209, and the plans are up on Instagram. I mean, what the hell's going on? Pinterest I can understand, but Instagram? Isn't that like MySpace?
Okay. So you want me to go ahead and kind of
Let's start a little more general, right? So if you're in that help desk role and you get a call from somebody who's hot, reporting that data is out, what do you do? Now, do you already have something that you can do? Which actually, I almost forgot. We haven't looked at what our procedures are.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Do we have a procedure in place, right? Do you have a playbook? Well, let's go to our game table here, and I've already dealt out the cards for this game, except we don't know what our procedures are. So I'm going to go through and kind of flip these over. We get 4 procedures. Our first procedure, let me flip that one over. There we go. So our first procedure today is going to be security information and event management log analysis. So SIEM, so your system, your company has good security or centralized security logs that you can search through. Always a good thing to have. Our second procedure, firewall log review. All right, so you've got firewalls and they log. That's kind of a nice feature of a firewall.
Very helpful.
Yeah, it's the firewalls that don't log. Yeah.
I don't know how they stay in business, Don.
Well, they probably don't.
They probably
so then we've got endpoint analysis. So here you've got like the SANS IR instant response cheat sheet or other things that are designed for what to do when your endpoint is compromised, what to expect when you're expecting. And then on our last one here, server analysis. Wow, we got the, I was about to say trifecta. Is a four-fecta? I don't know what the word is here.
The quadfecta.
These are all logs. Every one of these are
Every
logs.
single one of these.
I've never seen this before, so this is going to be a fun game for our first one. Normally, we end up with at least a tool or something like a Rita, Zeke, Bro, that kind of thing, which are Daniel's go-tos normally in this game.
Man, just play them hard and fast every time.
So OCP obviously recognizes the value of good logs. So we're covered there, but anything outside of that, remember that you guys, when you apply a procedure, you get a +3 bonus, but you can do whatever you want. Yeah, just because like Zeke is not here in this list, you could say, well, I'm going to go download it and get it.
We still get our +3.
Right, yep. So you'll be able to slug through. So Wes, with this toolkit.
With this toolkit, I'm pretty limited, so I think I'm going to have to do the IR cheat sheet. And my first thing is we're probably going to have to report this through the proper channels and maybe even do some escalation, because I don't know if endpoint analysis at this point is going to help. So I'm thinking maybe escalation and some of these other tools can be used by some of our other teams.
All right. And from a security standpoint, like if some of the intellectual property of this company shows up on Instagram, we can start to kind of build a little bit of a story around how we think it got there, right?
Yeah, because it's highly unlikely that it's the endpoint at this point that is the problem.
That's what I'm thinking.
Data is out in the public domain and not specifically like, hey, my computer's doing something weird, which would be like, oh, okay, let's look at your computer at that point.
Yeah, and my thought is, and I don't know this, it's data exfiltration at some point. I don't know if it's social engineering. Is it on a web server?
We just know our data's in the wild.
That's right. So what I'm thinking is, as a help desk analyst, I'm going to look at my IR cheat sheet here, and I'm going to find out who is the next person in the chain that this needs to go to, because I'm thinking it needs to go to them quick.
Yeah, and that's probably like a first responder kind of
Yeah,
deal.
so
And
who
as
is
a
the
help
first
desk person,
responder?
you very well may be the first responder.
Yep. So in this scenario, it kind of sounds like you're passing the buck, but in reality, that's what you need to do, because obviously we don't have the tools for you to do anything else. I suppose there are some things you could do, but we'll run with it.
Cry.
So, let's
Where's
go
that
ahead
printer?
and start with our first roll here,
Okay.
Wes. So go ahead and roll the die. Let's see what you get. On an 11 or higher, you will pass. You get a 12.
All right, very good.
All right. So
Escalation.
you properly escalate through channels, right? And you send this up. Now, thinking in terms of our team right here, you've got Mike, who's managing our servers. You've got Daniel on security. You've got Ronnie on network. who would you typically escalate to? The whole group or an individual?
Well, I'm going to go with Ronnie on this one because I see something on here that might help us. So I'm going to say escalate this over to our network guru here and see if we can find out, traffic. Where's traffic going?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in real life land, hopefully we have a documented incident response plan, so we know exactly what our notification tree is, but we don't here. But we do have an open dialogue, so at least we've got that piece.
OCP knows how to make money and obfuscate.
All right, well, in this scenario, while passing the buck is the right thing to do, it doesn't actually reveal anything about the compromise here, except for the fact that we know something has happened, right? We know some data has gone out, but we don't really know much beyond that. So for example, the C2 exfiltration category, obviously we know data has been exfiltrated, right? But we don't know how. We don't have details yet. So that's going to be the next piece that we have to figure out. So, so let's go to our next one. And while I know that you said you would escalate it up to Ronnie, I'm going to stick in order just so I can keep track of things.
That's probably helpful.
So we could have rolled initiative and all that. But let's go to Mike. Now, Mike, you're on the server team.
Yep.
And maybe you catch wind of this in the hallway, or it's a small, maybe it's an open office floor plan. Those are awesome.
I hear Ronnie over there screaming.
What the heck is going on?
All right. So Mike, acting independently or whatever, what do you think you could do in this situation?
Well, okay, so we've got data that's been leaked out and it's been posted in these public places. I want to go check out this Instagram page and see whose it is, see if we can trace that down. But I'm thinking, I'd like to see who was accessing that data recently, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the server that's hosting that data and start looking at access logs and see if I can find out who was accessing that data, copying that data off, moving that data, something like that.
All right. So you go and pull the audit logs, and actually let's get a roll to see how successful you are in finding some information. Audit logs can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right? Especially.
Man, thanks for taking that
That was a big waste of time.
+3.
For our listeners, that's a 2. That's like the second worst roll you can make.
Who can read these logs? I don't know.
So much. So, how about this? So you go to check the logs, and while your system does have some great logs in there, you're making the big mistake of auditing failures and not successes. And in this case, somebody was successfully able to audit those logs. And anybody remember why we want to monitor success and not failure?
So that we know when the breach happens.
That's
I can see someone's attempting something from all the failures, but if it just stops, I don't know. Did
they succeed?
Were they successful?
Did they
If I
quit?
see success right after those failures, I know that's a good
the moment in
indicator
time.
That's when it happens.
A failure or a deny means your system is working right.
That's
so
right.
That's good news. A success. That's bad news. All right. So you have failed us, Mike. And you look in those logs, and you are not able to determine anything at all. All right, Ronnie, you are next. The hot potato has been dropped in your lap, escalated from the desktop team. Hey, somebody's leaking some information. What do you do?
All right, so if the information is actually being leaked and it's out there on Instagram, I would probably, as a network technician here, probably try and use that incident there on firewall log review to see if that machine is actually communicating outward. And that way, then that should actually reveal at least what machine it might have come from.
Sure. So in this scenario, Instagram, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I've never logged into Instagram in my life. So I'm going to make some assumptions here.
Don is not on the gram.
So not that gram. So I'm assuming that they use TLS or SSL, an encrypted web-based communication. That's how most social media is. Should be easy to spot connections in the firewall logs. Maybe not. You won't be able to find who's got those ED 209 diagrams. So which are important. So let's get a dice roll and see how you do digging through your firewall logs. And this is another area.
You get this, Ronnie.
Oh, he does. With a 19. Yes. That's the second best roll. So Ronnie, not only does he find what he's looking for, he is the firewall log master. I mean, he is just in there. He didn't.
Can you help me out with my server logs?
He just thought about it. All right. You notice, because you've been doing trend analysis and you've got historical data and baselines and so on, that you can see that Instagram is not a common destination for people, and you're able to actually locate not just the fact that somebody has been contacting Instagram, but you can actually tie it to a workstation in the security concepts division. So someone in that division has been on Instagram and, more importantly, is still on Instagram. You're seeing that traffic going on right now. So you have actually uncovered the exfiltration. So I'm going to flip that card over, and we'll see that exfiltration is HTTPS as exfil. This is hard to spot because traffic on TCP port 443 is normal on a network. So when you're looking at that, you can glance right over it. But when you're trying to dial in on a particular site, you can spot it. Now, if you work at a school, seeing traffic to Instagram isn't going to be meaningful to you, right? But in this case, it is meaningful because we are a research facility, darn it. So you have found it. Now, you also made use of the firewall log, and a rule that I didn't mention earlier is that once you use a procedure, you're not able to use it again for 3 turns. So I'm going to flip that card over. That one's now off limits for the next 3 turns, and we have revealed our first card. It's a pretty good spot. And now that everybody else has had their hand on the pot, it's time to actually go to our security specialist.
Very good.
Notified last.
Y'all are not making my job really easy. This is supposed to be like mitigated by the time it comes to me.
You're going to have to sit down and have a talk with us when we're done.
You should just be signing off. Like, yeah, that's right.
Ah, good job, guys. Way to go. Really hanging
Thanks
there.
for nothing,
Where's
literally.
YouTube at again? All right, so it is my turn. I am the security guy. So I have a couple of routes that I'm thinking about going. Because we do have SIEM log analysis, which is usually a really good source of information. It is monitoring and watching over just about anything. And it is doing, depending on the SIEM that you're using, you could probably getting some snort detection, that kind of stuff. So I could go that route. I also have server analysis, which is a great tool or idea.
Yeah, because we still haven't figured out how they got onto that server.
Right, and if I look at the server, maybe I can find out that they've got some C2 implanted, like a rat or something on there. Decisions.
We also had the scenario where Don said that that you could find out the workstation that it was also on, and it was still continuing to happen.
Is it? Did you say it was happening on a workstation, not a server?
I think he said it was a workstation that you could.
The
find.
connection to Instagram was from a workstation, and it was still
workstation.
live.
So then we have endpoint analysis,
Yeah.
which should be back in play at this point.
Yeah, I didn't use it. I did
Oh,
escalation.
you didn't use it. You used the IRC
It's still in your.
right?
It's still in your toolbox.
And when we know that what that workstation is, right? We've got that workstation.
Ronnie's seeing active connections to
Well,
Instagram.
if that's the case, then that's exactly what we're going to go.
Let's do it.
Endpoint analysis.
All right, so endpoint analysis it is.
Big
And now
roll,
I got
big
to
roll.
roll.
Come on,
Yeah,
come
roll,
on.
come
Maybe
on.
need some
That
new
card.
shoes.
Y'all need to pray I
Let's
get
do
me
it.
a good one here.
The electrical gods,
There's that
come
D20.
on.
There it is. Here we go. Oh, I rolled 2.
You cheater pants. Well,
So
you know
you
what?
won
They
on
both
both?
pass.
You won on both of them.
Which one would you like, Don?
So Daniel rolled a 15 and a
I'm
17.
that good.
That's redundancy.
Both of which would be a +3 anyway, right? So
Yeah.
an 18 or a 20. This is I got to show off my math skills while I can. So, all right. So Daniel, security specialist.
Yeah.
I mean, you
I can't roll dice for my life. But
Absolutely. So, taking a look at this endpoint, I mean, you know what to expect. The
Right.
endpoints are image-based distributions, so you have a baseline of what they should look like. You start to analyze this one, and you notice right off the bat that there is some activity going on in this system that is not normal, okay? And I'll tell you from digging at it, you could probably find any one of these 3 types of categories. So what type of access are you looking for when you dig into that endpoint?
probably for persistence, something that is allowing the attacker to maintain access into that environment and then ultimately do some pivoting.
Okay, so this is a Windows 10 machine. Can you give me some examples of what you might look for persistence?
For persistence, I mean,
Rogue admin
I'm
accounts
thinking,
or-
what's that?
System
Rogue
privileges.
admin accounts, maybe?
Rogue admin accounts would be a good one,
Yeah,
right? That
yeah.
could definitely
Somebody's got a privilege
flies under the
escalation.
radar. Maybe some living off the land, find some PowerShell scripts running around that shouldn't be running, especially if we've done our due diligence and stopped that from the normal user.
All right.
Which they shouldn't be doing.
Okay, well, one of the things that you do that's a very common thing is you compare the running services with the baseline for that system, and right off the bat, you spot a new service that shouldn't be there, that
Oh,
you can't
no.
identify. So here is a rogue process or service that is running.
It's SVC host, right?
That's right.
What's the other one? DLL host?
That's right.
Can't be that.
See,
All
80
20 of them.
Yeah, all 20 of them. Actually, you know, that would be a great way to hide some of that because you can inject malware into DLLs and they just look like they're running in DLLs. So there are some tools that you can use to look into DLLs or tasks that are running that have bundled services like SVC hosts to see what's going on. So maybe I use something like that to discover it.
All right, well, let's flip that card. We are tackling persistence right now, and so that, hang on, that's not it. I flipped the wrong thing. It's actually,
We didn't see it
I
done.
screwed it up. I know.
Nothing.
There we
see
go.
here.
You actually found Pivot and Escalate.
Hey, all
right.
You found a new service in place that wasn't there before. This can be part of persistence, but also part of Pivot and Escalate, and that this service is now looking for other machines and other data on the network. This is continuing on with that particular attack. So, so that is what you have spotted, and we have revealed our second card. So
Nice.
good work on that one. All right, well, we are halfway through our incident at this point, right? We've found that data is being exfiltrated out to Instagram in this case, so there's that traffic. We also have found that there is a new service that's been added to that machine. We still don't know who did it. We don't know how they got in the first place. We don't know, what they're doing to stay in there aside from this. This is close, but not necessarily it. So we still have a little bit more research to do, but why don't we stop and take a break here, catch a word from our sponsors, and when we get back, the exciting conclusion to Backdoors and Breaches.
Love you, dear Brad.
Will you be in or near Gainesville, Florida anytime soon? Then you should come see ITProTV. Make plans to visit the studios. Get a tour. Meet your favorite edutainer. See what goes on behind the scenes every day to bring the best of classroom learning to IT professionals around the world. Simply chat with the member services team on the ITProTV website and let us know when you'll be visiting. We'll see you soon. How do IT pros stay up to date? With the ITProTV webinar series, of course. Twice a month, ITProTV presents a webinar available at no charge.
We are here talking about high velocity. Yeah.
But today we're talking those wonderful, I loved his, like you said, the alliteration of the hidden hacker hardware.
Wouldn't that be really, really cool if we did that? Oh, look at this.
You can catch ITProTV webinars live or on demand at your convenience. See them all. Visit www.itpro.tv/webinars.
Welcome back, everybody, to ITProTV Plays Backdoors and Breaches. I am here with our crack incident response team. Crack
Incident response is going to go together, but not in the same way you think.
So we have been slowly unraveling our incident, and we've learned a bit more. We still haven't actually stopped the compromise, so there's that. But we're making headway, darn it.
Right. We haven't notified the press yet. Right?
So we're continuing to do a little bit of work here. And we left off with Daniel having determined that an additional service was present on a compromised workstation. So we have a really good potential point of compromise, like an initial, I want to say like an indicator of compromise, but it's not.
Yeah,
but an initial kind of penetration point. Right. And now we need to find a little bit more. Now, Wes, we started with you because you're help desk, right?
Absolutely.
But, you escalated, you punted.
Yep, I did. I sure did. Somebody else's problem, man.
Now we've come full circle.
Oh, that's right.
We're desperate.
But, maybe, right?
You've just been
It's an
promoted.
option. It's an option.
Dan left.
So maybe the whole team is out of ideas and we're just asking anybody, like, hey.
Really stooping low here.
Reach out. So
And 209 took me out.
we're getting calls from, like, Stephanie in the mailroom saying, have you guys checked this?
Have you turned it on and off?
But, from a professional standpoint, you did punt, you handed it off, but that doesn't mean you have to give up. you can continue doing a little bit of research. This is a workstation that's affected, so there's a number of tools at your disposal on the help desk side where you could potentially look in and find it. So so you don't give up, right? You're like, what is it, Rick Astley? You're never going to give you up? Oh, no, that's Rick. Whatever.
Rick Astley.
Yeah, you got it, Rick Astley. Yeah, there we go.
Rick rolled, man.
I tried to Rick roll and failed.
You got Rick roll a 20.
I'm going to Rick roll a 20. You
one.
better believe it.
So, so you're going to keep looking. What do you think you would do?
Well, I'm going to look for some connections, and one of my thoughts is running something like NetStat just to get some IP addresses to maybe see if there's any foreign addresses that the endpoint is connected to right now.
Okay.
And then maybe we can scrape that information, maybe do a who's IP, kind of track it down maybe externally.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, as somebody on the help desk, that might mean you physically walk over to that machine. But at this point, we suspect somebody is there connected right now.
Yeah, I really want to use the SIEM card here, but I don't think that. I think that's a little above my pay grade.
Well, remember, you don't have to use a procedure, and you might be going vigilante here if you already escalated.
That's
true. Yeah. So
he's looking for someone's job.
I'm going to stick with my first one.
But you could remotely execute those commands, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a Windows machine. We could use remote PowerShell.
Yeah, that's right. PS remoting.
It's been a while since I've messed with Windows.
He's got it right.
Yeah. No. But I mean, if you had SCCM or SCOM or something, one of those crazy SC products from Microsoft. All right. So you're gonna give a shot at that.
I'm gonna do that.
Let's go ahead and get a roll. See what you can find.
All right. Let's see if I can actually roll this dice right.
So far, Mike's our only failure. The 90s
The Windows
young.
guy, you know.
And I'm rolling again. We'll take the first one.
All right, so Wes rolled at 11, which, as you all may recall, is the bare minimum of what it takes.
That's right. I'm doing just enough here, right?
Keeping your job is what you're doing.
And as you do that and take a look at it, what you find is that there is an active connection to that machine, and in fact, it's on TCP port 3389.
Oh, I've heard of that one before. We got a little RDP action going on there too.
All right, so there's an RDP connection into this machine. It is active right now. You can see data transferring, so it's not listening, it's active in the NetStat output.
So how much information do I get? Is that an external IP or an internal IP?
So it is an external IP.
Ah, okay. Just wanted to know, do we have a bad actor inside, disgruntled employee that really wants to make a little extra money with that intellectual property?
Well, now, it still could be an internal employee, right?
It's just connecting from the outside.
It could be that somebody is actively sitting at that computer right now and has no idea this is happening.
Right.
Although probably not, because doesn't RDP lock all of
it locks you out.
Yeah. All right. It could be a malicious actor outside. It could be a disgruntled employee acting from outside.
Outside as well, yeah, a telecommuter or something.
It could be a disgruntled employee at the next desk over.
Right.
Oh,
that's
says they
true.
couldn't remote desktop over. So you do know that somebody is getting into this thing, though, and that is a big problem right there, right?
All right.
And taking a look at it, you're actually able to see what user is logged in.
Okay.
And it is a valid user. I've forgotten the command with RDP that actually shows you who's logged in. Mike, do you remember?
I do not.
There's a command line you can run and it tells you who's logged in. And
I don't remember.
anyhow, so you're able, I'm going to assume you're smarter than me, or you at least have Google, which I don't right now, and can find out who's logged in. And it is a valid, real user. So, it's a user on the network that is logged in and accessing the machine, and you don't know necessarily what they're doing, because RDP, if it was a terminal server, you could see it, but with RDP, you can't actually see the screen as an administrator. So you know that somebody is on there, though. And I am going to treat that as, I'm going to stretch just a little bit on this one. Well, hang on, let's workshop this a little
Let's
bit.
workshop this.
All right.
Okay.
Let's say for a moment, we'll see if you guys can get it a little indirectly, that a malicious actor is logged in with a valid user account, right? Like what could lead to that? How could that happen?
Password spraying, maybe a
Social
dump of
engineering.
credentials,
Yeah.
social engineering, a phish.
Social engineering and phishing are probably the most common. You mentioned password spraying, which is a bit of a newer term. You want to explain that to the viewers?
That's where you have a set of very common passwords, and I've got a list of users for an account or possible users, maybe based off of doing some reconnaissance against my target. And then I just use those passwords against everybody in the company, hoping that somebody is using one of those common passwords, which is highly likely.
All right. Well, you guys are like super close to figuring out the initial compromise, but you didn't hit it right. And I'm gonna be the mean.
I was going to say, my thought was shared accounts.
So
we doing any shared accounts?
Oh, so like an
I guess
employee
you
sharing their
couldn't. You wouldn't be
credentials?
able to track that though. That's
That happens a lot.
I
You
mean,
know,
it does happen a lot, though.
old
It
Bob
does, but
Morton,
we don't
he's
know
got some
who.
assistants. Maybe
Sure.
Yeah, Bob
he
Morton.
puts it on a Post-it note and hands it over. And
there we go.
you know, that's
Just log in and take
That's
care
right.
of that for me there, Alice. As
That's how
those
it's
old
done.
misogynists would do.
All right, so I'm going to flag you as a success on that one, Wes, but I'm not going to turn over that initial compromise.
Oh, man.
As a hint, though, you guys are super close to figuring out what that one is. All right, Mike, we are going to turn back over to you. You were able to actually, you didn't do anything.
I did not failed my role.
Well, he really pointed you out on that one, huh? So now let's call attention to your
Your
failures.
mother and I are very disappointed.
You know, it's Windows admin guys.
So now's your chance to redeem yourself, right? Like, what are you going to do?
You know, I'm going to have to go back to, I am the Windows guy, and I'm still curious as to what's going on that server. I want to know how they got into that server, because I should have logs of that access if they were getting that data off there. So I'm going to go for server analysis again.
All right. So you dig into the server logs, and let's
You got a roll?
Let's get a roll to see what you
What do you find?
do or do not find.
Come on.
But
He
he
gets
gets
the
three.
procedure
Yes,
card.
yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, a virtual die, you would think would not be so dramatic. But this is like on the edge of 19. Ended up at 9, but he did use a procedure, so this is
God.
you know it's a pass. So it's 12. You get a +3 on that roll. That's server analysis. I'm going to flip that card over. So server analysis is out for 3 more rounds. Oh, actually, that reminds me. With your turn, firewall logs come back on the table just in time for running.
Just in time for
Nice.
So let me flip that one back over. All right. Now you dig through the logs, and what you find is that you have you talk to some coworkers and you realize that while your logs sucked and only were logging failures, somebody else was logging successes. So you were able to get a
Daniel
hold of
taught
those.
somebody correctly.
Yeah.
While everybody else was doing some work. And so you're able to locate in there where this particular user, the same user that Wes identified as accessing the remote desktop on that system, they are the ones that accessed all of the ED 209 specifications. They were able to download them to that machine. You see a record of that. But the trail kind of stops there, right? Yeah, because on the server side, we're not actually dealing with a real compromise here. It's a valid user account accessing files they had permissions for and copying them to a workstation.
But doesn't that give us persistence? We know how he's getting into that machine now, valid account.
So it does and it doesn't. So if you disable that user account,
Right.
would they still be able to get in?
No, unless they had another user account.
All right, so let's well, I'll add a little more to the scenario. You guys know the user, right? So I'm going to assume Wes reports that up.
Right.
Daniel, you saw the user too, so we got multiple sightings here.
It's like Bigfoot or Elvis.
You have disabled that user account to try and contain the breach.
Correct.
Right? But you see access continues, right? Now, Mike, in your logs, I'm going to grant this one to you. In your logs, you actually see, you know what? No, I'm going to make you roll a second time.
Come on, here we go.
Roll a second time on this one.
Here we go.
All right. All right, 15. All right. So once that account's disabled, now you're the server admin, so they come to you, hey, disable this user account. You
Right.
disable it. And then you see another user, a name you don't recognize, pop in and start to access those files. And that's going to be our persistence. You find where they have actually added a new user account. So new user added into the system. Now, this could be a local user, which would show up on a workstation, or it could be a domain directory user that would show up on the server. But so you are able to spot that.
Cool.
All right. Now, at that point, you guys are really close. The only thing you don't know is how they got into this machine in the first place. And that's going to bring us to Ronnie.
All right, Ronnie.
And you're going to get creative here. I don't know how a network engineer would figure
I
this
can
out.
help you out if you want.
All right, yeah, I need some help because
I would think like we start looking, like running some sort of vulnerability assessment against this. Look for how did they get access to this thing?
Yeah,
If there was maybe like a blue keep or Eternal Blue, kind of, this is a Windows machine.
You got to have
They
you got
could
to
have
have certain
some
rights
sort
to
of
create this
compromise.
account.
yeah. So I was thinking, an
Yeah, but if
admin
you take over with like something like Eternal Blue,
Right.
you get full
That gives
entity
you- that's what I'm
authority.
saying,
I
that
got
gives-
all that,
yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So it could just be like an exploit that
Yep.
they use to gain access.
All right, so let's try that. Let's go with some type of initial
Vulnerability
compromise, vulnerability assessment that we
Okay.
could do.
Rita?
And it'd be nice if we had Rita.
All right, so you're not going to get a procedure on this one. You're just going to do a straight roll and see
right.
what you get.
Ronnie.
Come on,
Big money.
Moment
Drum
of
roll.
Perfect. Wow.
Nice.
All right.
Ronnie's got the hot dice.
He does, man. We're going to Vegas.
Ronnie rolled a nat 20. All right, now, a couple of things are going to happen
Oh,
here,
no.
right? So, first off, you take a look at your vulnerability assessment, and you actually do not see any red flags. You know, so maybe you've got some central monitoring suite of software that's keeping track of your network. I'm thinking like a Tenable or something that can scan the whole network and report back. And you're not seeing any crazy vulnerabilities or anything popping up. In fact, the workstation itself is fully up to date. Windows updates have been applied. It's running its antivirus.
Okay.
Windows firewall is turned on. Like everything you expect is running on the machine like you would expect. Now, because you rolled a perfect 20, we are going to be playing an inject card. On a 1 or a 20, an inject comes out, which changes the game slightly. I'm going to shuffle my inject deck, and we are going to deal out an inject card. And I don't know what this one's going to be, so let's find out. We're going to flip that one over. And it says, take one procedure card away.
Wow,
Sometimes
that helped.
procedures fail. Sometimes they're not followed correctly. Sometimes you can't find a procedure when you need it the most. Nobody's perfect. Sorry.
So we get to choose, like, we don't need the fire log review, right? We get to choose that? Or
I'm going to do this randomly. I'm going to roll a d4, and we'll get rid of whatever I roll. And I rolled a 3, so we're going to get rid of Endpoint Analysis, which is good because you guys have played it twice anyway. Yeah. All right, so that one's out. We're down to 3, and while you did, you rolled a 20, you killed it, you dug in there. Everything looks good. Everything looks happy. And so that's going to bring us to Daniel.
To the man.
Come on,
So-
man.
Bring it home.
Don said that we were close with
Password
spraying. Like, is it just because we didn't
Social
use something
engineering.
like password brute force
Right.
attack, or
it
like to me this would have been a fish. Like somebody fished it.
Yeah. Was this a spam or
Because-
phishing email?
right,
You
because
know.
the system's completely clean.
Right.
Right. It's got no indications of compromise other than the
Yeah.
compromise
And the person
itself.
or the
Yeah,
that's
it's gotta
going
be-
through doesn't seem to have
Right.
any chains on them.
Right. So they've
maybe
got a
administrator
valid
account or
username and
something.
password.
Yeah.
And it's a
that
high
they've
up
logged in
account.
with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. If they've got access to create accounts,
Yeah.
that pivot machine didn't put in like a remote code exploitation.
So I
or
mean,
anything.
look, let's do.
Checking to see if some admin is logged
You know
out
what
to
I wanna
different
do is-
places, or
Maybe I'll look for some like off-time account login kind
Right.
of thing. I'm gonna go with the seam card. Maybe there's something in there that it sees some anomaly based logins, and I can discover.
he's
like-
using those credentials here while
Yeah.
the same guy's logged in somewhere else.
That, it still tells. We already have that information though. Like we know who it was. Like so we know who got hit. I'm trying to think. Can we do?
So you need to be thinking about like what are the ways that an attacker could have a valid set of credentials
So
for a
the
system?
way they could get a valid set of credentials, they either guess them.
They're authorized.
right?
Or
they
brute
have
force
them
them.
already. Like this is
Insider
an
attack.
insider attack, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or they found them on like Pastebin or whatever from darknet, kind of stuff.
Or in some
All right.
code somewhere.
All right, you're on the right trail.
Okay.
Let's get a roll and see how we can figure this one out.
All right. Let's see here.
Come on.
Come on, big D20. Don't hurt me.
And you get the
right.
+3, so you got it.
The dice are in your favor today. All right, so that one is a 13. So you find where, sure enough, this user has been reusing their credentials. So they use the same username and password on a
So password
compromised site.
reuse.
It was posted into Pastebin.
Oh.
Password reuse, password stuffing.
Right.
There's a number of different terms for it, none of which
That's
you used
funny.
earlier.
I was like, I wonder if it's password stuffing. I have password stuffing brought up. I'm like, maybe it's that. Or credential stuffing is typically how
Yeah.
you see it. But.
Yep. So this is a real common problem and super hard to identify, right?
Yeah.
If somebody's reusing their password somewhere else, that's not your system. You don't know.
Yeah.
And then the attacker can log in with valid credentials. Now, guys, how can we stop that?
Password
Oh,
policies.
we have password
User
policies.
Password.
Yeah.
Enforcing
Education.
password policies. The policy itself doesn't.
So password, if he had used a capital letter and a lowercase letter, this wouldn't happen?
no,
could still do that somewhere
password.
else.
Well, password reuse, right?
User
Like a
education,
history.
teaching
That's
them not to
definitely where you
reuse
start.
passwords.
Yeah.
User education, but if we don't trust our users?
Which we should.
Multi-factor authentication.
There we go.
MFA for the win.
Multi-factor. If you don't trust your users, and you shouldn't, right? People can't pick a good password. Then in this scenario, use multi-factor, and then even if the attackers had the password, they would have to bypass multi-factor, which, while not impossible, is really, really hard.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, gentlemen, you guys have just won the game.
We were close. We only had 2 more rounds, right?
Yeah,
Before
well,
we were.
you get 10 rounds,
Right.
and then if you don't solve it, so Wes and Mike would have had a stab at it, and then that would have been the end of the game. You did really well.
I'm glad he said that after that.
And so I was
totally would have gotten it wrong.
Exactly.
Mike,
Game was over when it got to them.
I was hoping it would get to that point because I had my lines all worked out. I was looking at Mike, I'd be like, Mike, you have 10 seconds to comply. Drop the weapon.
I would have just ran under ED209 at that point.
I never understood that part. Like he separates himself from the crowd. Anyhow.
He did.
Yep, that's the 80s. All right, well, thank you guys for playing, and for everybody watching out there, a couple of messages for you. Don't forget, we are giving away a deck of Backdoors and Breaches, so you too can play the game. Everybody gets a copy of the home game. And giving away the shirt. We'll do that in just a moment. But remember, even if you don't win that drawing, everybody's a winner at ITProTV because we're running a promo right now. If you sign up today, use promo code GAMESHOW30 to save 30% off the lifetime of your subscription. If you want to learn more about security, you will find a ton of it in our library, like CISA Plus, CEH, Security Plus, CISSP. There are a ton of security certifications in there, as well as even not certification-focused stuff, like we have a hardening Linux series and the Cisco firewall courses and so on.
Penetration testing?
Oh, yeah, tons. There's a CompTIA Pentest Plus, lots of good stuff in there. GameShow30, that promo code will get you 30% off the lifetime of your account. So as long as you stay subscribed, you will have that discount, which is awesome.
Free money.
What's that?
Free money.
Free money, sort of.
Kind of. Because then you don't have to use it.
All right, let's jump over. Wes, are you dealing with the...
Well, it looks like we've got a winner for our Backdoors and Breaches. The Backdoors and Breaches winner is Dennis Davis. Dennis Davis.
All right,
All
Dennis.
right, very good.
Dennis, thank you for watching. Don't post your personal information in the chat room.
Yes, definitely not.
To get that sent out. So you will get a deck of Backdoors and Breaches, and if the envelope will hold it, I'll throw a D20 in there too. We'll see if the envelope will work. And then
and we got a T-shirt winner too. That's Debbie Morris out there.
All
You've won the
right.
ITProTV T-shirt.
all right, thank you guys. And please give us some feedback on this. This is our first time doing a game show like this, and I had fun.
It was
And we've gotten a lot of great feedback in the chat room, guys and gals out there. Thank you very much. It's been fun. Looks like a lot of people are having fun out there.
Yeah,
with
I
this.
saw it. It was like Mike's lame, Mike's...
Yeah. Wes should just stop now.
No love for the mic.
Telling you, Windows
He
haters.
refers to himself as the mic.
All right. Well, if you liked it, we look forward to being able to do this again in the future. We think it'd be a lot of fun. And hey, if you're ever in the Gainesville area, swing by because we could play in person. It'd be a good time. So, all right, everybody, we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there. It is a cyber war zone. That sounds dramatic, doesn't it? I didn't prepare that. I'm making this stuff up. All right. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.
Welcome to ITProTV, an e-learning company with thousands of hours of engaging video training for IT teams, with fresh training courses added daily. What makes ITProTV stand out? It all starts with our edutainers, who create better than classroom experiences for training your team will look forward to watching.
So an edutainer is someone who takes a topic, an educational topic, and makes it more fun, enjoyable. My vision for ITProTV was to make the product that I wish I had when I got started.
The dashboard's great because you can pick up right where you left off, you can see new courses that are available, and you also have access to a variety of study tools with a membership.
You can follow along with virtual labs and test your skills with practice tests. IT leaders can also take advantage of the Pro Portal to help their team grow.
The ITProTV Pro Portal gives leaders the power to manage their investment in IT training. They can assign seats and courses and check in on progress to ensure their outcomes are being met.
And unlike traditional training, you aren't handcuffed to your desk. Sure, you can watch from there or from your couch with Apple TV and Roku apps or from anywhere using mobile apps. The training is even available for download. If you're ready for your team to watch and learn, check out the flexible plan choices online and request a live demo for your business today at www.itpro.tv.